What is up, everybody? Sveinson here, back with another MLB 9 innings video. We're kind of in a content lull right now. You see, we have some SIG packs ready to go. We have so many packs in our inventory that we are ready to open, but we're kind of saving resources, and we're saving those SIG packs because we're going to wait to open them. Currently, Yachty, Albert are both still in the game, and they should be leaving soon, and they have a super high dupe chance for Cardinals decks, so I don't want to open up those SIG packs until they're out of the game. Plus, 2022 SIGs like Goldie and Arenado and Helsley are all looking like they're going to be endgame, so I think I'm just going to save up all my packs, all my exclusive SIG packs, all my skill change tickets until those 2022 SIGs drop and do one huge video and make our team take 3 steps forward. So we're in a bit of a content lull in the meantime, so I've decided this would be a great time to work on some guide content. And with the power ranking tournament going on, I think this is a perfect time to do power ranking pick'em guides. I've had people in Discords ask me, you know, all these teams look so good, how do I know which one to pick? There are ways to do that. There are some of these teams that, even though every single team in this tournament is absolutely fantastic, there are some teams that are just better. They're built different. So we're going to take a look at how you can tell which teams are better and how you can use that to help you make better pick'ems, but also if you know which teams are better, you know what to look for in making your own team better. Sure, you may not spend what these guys spend. It's a ridiculous amount, and it's pretty awesome that they have these great teams put together. You do not need to maybe hold the same high standards as they do, but you know what skills and what sets and what levels to look for on your own team. Finally, I got to give a shout out. Kamehameha, he is in AK's Discord, has been posting pick'ems and his predictions every single day of this tournament. I reached out to him today and I asked him to help me put together this guide because his walkthroughs are super thorough. His predictions have been perfect so far this tournament. And so I figured that he could help me explain to you guys what's going into his write-ups. So Kaime, thank you so much for helping me put together this video. Thank you so much for all the time you took to walk me through your process and share it with the world. With that being said, let's get this video underway. So the first and most important piece of advice that I have to give is don't pick your matchup based on overall. Legends are really the strongest cards you can have in the tournament, and they're lower overall than SIG counterparts. Pretty much all of these teams are going to be running primes, SIGs, legends in their decks, and will be fully fleshed out, super high overall. Some with more SIGs, maybe a higher overall, but the team with more legends, because of how skills work on them, could be better. A very good example of this comes in this, I believe it was a second round matchup. You had SD Yanks versus SVLL Yanks. SD Yanks took home the win, and it's going slow at 125 overall, which is still super high. But you can see he has Ted Williams, Wade Boggs, Paul Molitor, Jim Rice, Edgar. You know, a couple legends here with Feller, Seaver, McLean, Suter. 125 overall, and he took the win. And don't get me wrong, that's a super high overall, but he took it over SVLL Yanks, 126.5. SVLL has higher overall because way more SIG batters. He has the Piazza, which is also going to be a high overall card, as opposed to someone like Edgar, who's only 114 overall. Um, you can kind of see where that difference comes in. So, SD Yanks, best team on the server, is not the highest overall on the server. So, that's the first thing to keep in mind. Don't just look at the overall numbers and pick the higher one. My second tip is going to be only try to pick matchups that are obvious who's the winner. There are going to be a lot of close ones when you're looking through them, and as you get later in the tournament, like we are now, uh, it's getting harder and harder to pick the obvious matchup. because all these teams remaining are very, very good. But that being said, earlier in the tournament and just as much as you can, try to pick the obvious winner. If you have two teams and you're trying to decide between them and it's really, really close, just go check out a different matchup. See if you can find someone who is head and shoulders above their opponent. Because you only got to make one prediction per round, and if you get that pick 'em right, you get the reward. So try to pick the obvious winner. It won't always go in your favor. Sometimes the better team does end up losing. Like, in my opinion, SD Yanks is the best deck on this server. They're power ranked 1, and they still lost to Furio, Primetime Furio. Uh, Still an excellent deck, but I would have picked SD Yanks over them. To me, that would have been an obvious matchup. I didn't. I picked a different matchup that round, but in my opinion, upsets like this can happen. That doesn't mean Furio is a bad deck. He's obviously very good, but with SD Yanks being the best deck on the server, upsets can happen. Just try to pick the obvious ones as much as you can, and in general, you'll do pretty well. So now, how do you pick the obvious ones? What should you be looking for? To start it out, we're going to talk about starting pitchers. Starting pitchers with every phase of the game, from iron to power ranking tournament, from your top 5 clubs to your silver clubs, starting pitching makes a huge, huge difference. So let's just go ahead and take a look at what you should be looking for in starting pitchers. My favorite example to show this right now is Xanderdu, who looks like he won his last round over JC MLB Yanks, who I believe was another example of a 126 overall deck, losing to Xanderdu, who is still pretty high overall, but only 120.9. That's a huge difference. It's almost 4 overall, right? Like that is a big difference, and Xander 5-0 swept him. And JCMLB is a very good team. I have picked him to win previous tournaments before, and he hasn't. So let's look at starting pitcher skills. How was Xander able to do this? When I'm looking at starting pitchers, I'm really looking for 2 skills in particular: Control Master and Slow Starter. Fireballer, Co-op, they're good skills, and they can be really strong with strong supporting skills, if they have high levels. But really, Control Master, Slow Starter, when I'm looking at these teams, I want to see how many sets they have on their starting pitcher. And if we look at Xander, he has Control Master with 2 blue skills. He has Tom Seaver, 2 blue skills, and they're both always active skills. Boss and Dom will always be online uh, while he's pitching. Nolan Ryan, Control Master with Touch and Dominant Pitcher. Catfish Hunter, Control Master with Finesse and Untouchable. Then finally, his worst pitcher, the lowest pitcher he has, is Burt Blyleven with Slow Starter, Finesse Pitcher, and Cleaning Up Your Mess. This is an example of an excellent rotation. He has all Control Master or Slow Starter sets. That's why he's able to take out these much higher overall teams. His skills are just that. Another thing is, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, supporting skills also make a difference in legend sets. If we take a look at this, you see he has Control Master, Finesse Pitcher, Dominant Pitcher. This is the way he has it positioned. This looks like it would be who he considers his best pitcher, Denny McLain. I don't blame him. Super high overall card at base 76, and it has an excellent skill set. You can see in contrast, Burt Blyleven, a little bit lower overall card, but Cleaning Up Your Mess is the third skill on the set. And Mess is a solid skill. I run it on a couple of my pitchers in Diamond, but um, it's weaker because it doesn't activate unless a batter gets on base. So you have to give up a hit in order to get the benefit of Cleaning Up Your Mess. Not only that, against pitchers who have or against batters who have a tendency to hit the long ball, hit home runs, he's dealing with only Slow Starter and Finesse Pitcher. And if they hit a home run, Cleaning Up Your Mess doesn't trigger, and he's back to only having Slow Starter and Finesse Pitcher. So that's something else to keep in mind when you're looking at these cards. Do they have a legend skill with finesse pitcher, last boss, untouchable, or dominant pitcher? Or maybe do they have a what we consider a third skill on there, which means it's good and it is acceptable, especially at 99, probably even more than 99%, 99.99% of your ranks. You know, is it something like cleaning up your mess or stability or pitching machine, which are good. They make the card better, but this isn't 99.99% of your rank. This is a power ranking tournament. Your team's got to be better. That's what you're looking for, the better teams. One other thing to note is that triple gold skills just don't really work out that well for starting pitchers in the power ranking tournament. They're pretty solid for, again, 99% of the population. Triple gold on starting pitchers is great, especially if it's like, I don't know, Finn, Boss, and Dom, right? That's an excellent skill set. Or Finn, Boss, Touch, maybe Mess is in there. It's great. They're great skills, but this is a different level of play. We really, on starting pitchers especially, like to see legend skill sets. One other thing I'm going to mention, Fireballer, Cooperative Pitcher, they are both good, but if you see them in a lineup and you're trying to decide whether or not to pick that, both of those absolutely need high level third and second skills to make them valuable. It has to be active. It has to be one of the big four, one of Finn, Boss, Dom, or Touch. Co-op and Fireballer are good skills, especially Fireballer if it's paired with Finesse Pitcher can keep up with Control Master or Slow Starter sets, but they are just not as good. The Slow Starter and Control Master really are a tier above. So the point of all of this So the point of all this is when you're trying to decide what team to pick, just start by comparing starting pitchers. Try to find the obvious, you know, try to find the point of all this is action. The point of all of this is that you want to start by trying to find obvious pitching matchup advantages. Find the sets with Control Master and Slow Starter and good active third skills. There are going to be a lot of them throughout the tournament, and see if you can start by, just start there. See if that team is way better than its opponent. And we're going to walk through next the bullpen and the batters, to see what else are you looking for? But if you start at the pitchers, that's an excellent base to have to know which team is better. So the next thing we are going to cover is the bullpen. This is what I like to look at next because while most teams will have strong rotations or batting lineups, not every team has a strong bullpen, and this is something that can really set a team apart. First off, with bullpens, there's a lot of things working against them. Some mentor levels are stronger later in games when setup men and closing pitchers are in. Spotlight after the fifth inning if you're tied or losing increases slugging percent. So when you're looking at these lineups, a strong bullpen can really make the difference between a good team and a great one. In the bullpen, we're really looking for high-level active skills. That's the other thing. On legend skill sets, and we'll cover what legend skills are good, on legend skill sets, the lowest level we like to see is 4. And on non-legend skill sets, the lowest level for setup men and closing pitchers should be at least 5. Now, middle relief is still important. Good middle relief can make a difference. It can help keep them in games. It can help make sure that a small 1-0 lead doesn't turn into a 6-0 blowout. But setup man and closing pitcher is really what's important and what we're looking for. So A8 is a great example of that. The legend skills we like to see are either Control Master or Bullpen Day. While Fireballer is kind of acceptable if it has Finesse Pitcher and another strong skill on it, such as Setup Man, Winning Streak, Dominant Pitcher, Boss, or Untouchable, it really just isn't as good as Control Master and Bullpen Day, especially in the bullpen. So just let's take a look at this bullpen, and we can try to learn some things from it. So, starting off, Legend Raleigh Fingers, Bullpen Day, Boss Touch, all of these skills are active. Let's see, next up, Legend Bruce Sutter, should have been a Cardinal. Bullpen Day, Dominant Pitcher, Finesse Pitcher, one of my favorite relief pitching skill sets. I'm not going to touch on it too much, but mentor nerfs can play a big difference. Most of you won't know who's nerfing what because they really only tell that to other people in their club or other high level decks. But dominant pitcher and finesse pitcher are not nerfed that much, so this is really a super strong set, especially for setup man. At closer, the last important position, we got bullpen day, finesse pitcher, and as we said earlier, the lowest level in the legend set should be level 4. We have level 4 winning streak, which will always be active when the closing pitcher is in. They only come in when leading. So, excellent closing pitcher, excellent setup men, and then the rest of the bullpen isn't too bad as well. We got Kenley Jansen, Fireballer, Finesse, as we were talking about earlier. Fireballer with Finesse is our favorite pairing to go with Fireballer. Then we have Gagne with Bullpen Day, Dominant Pitcher, Pitching Machine. Another great card. Pitching Machine is always active, but a little bit lower level, and that's why he probably stuck him in middle relief. Liam Hendricks, non-team, still an excellent card, base 70. Dominant Pitcher, Fixer, pair really well with middle relief, and Iron Will is not what we consider an active skill, but it can be useful in middle relief. It comes online when a batter has gotten on base. Um, so if earlier in the game some batter got on base, then Iron Will would activate against that batter for Liam Hendricks, and if he's in middle relief, somebody A8 is losing, so we know that someone got on base earlier. So Iron Will is okay. There's a reason he's his last MR. Then finally, every relief pitcher or every long relief pitcher will have pitcher's chemistry, which we'll touch on a little bit. Legends with pitcher's chemistry are going to give a higher bonus to all the cards in the pitching rotation and in the bullpen than a regular card with pitcher's chemistry. It can give a slight advantage, but if you're looking at a matchup and it's not, either the semifinal or the final round, and you're not sure who to pick, and one person has, Legend P Chem and the other doesn't, and that's what's making your decision for you, look for another matchup. Try to find one that's more obvious. Legends Pitcher's Chem does give a slight edge, but not enough for me to convincingly say that that makes that deck better. So it is a good advantage. It's nice to see. It's nice to have on your team, but regular Pitcher's Chem is still really good as well. Finally, in the pitchers or in the power ranking tournament, your long relief pitcher can end up coming in. It can make a little bit of a difference. In normal ranked, these guys will never show up, but in the power ranking tournament, they come in the case of tie games, and so someone who has a strong second skill can have a big advantage if the game goes to extra innings. That's not a lot of innings. Again, that shouldn't make a huge difference for you. If it is your difference maker, someone has a second skill on their pitcher's chemistry guy versus someone who doesn't. If that is the big difference maker for you, go find another matchup. So that's about all I had to say for bullpen. All right, so finally, we're going to talk about batters. Let me go find who we're going to be looking at for batters. Really, a lineup that I really like is Chauvinist Puig. Let's pull him up. Chauvinist Puig has a excellent batter lineup. When we're looking at batters, we're looking for two skills in particular. We're looking for Pioneer and Bad Ball Hitter. Those are the best Legend skills. Paired with them, on a Legend, obviously everything's going to be 3-3-3. But we're really looking for something that's at least level 4 when we're talking about pairing a skill with a Legend skill. So if we go through Puig's lineup, starts out with a Jim Rice. Strong training. I'm not really going to talk too much about training. A lot of these guys, you'll notice, they'll have good trainings, right? They'll have Con, Power, and I as their top three, with Power at least top two. Most of the time number one, but Jim Rice is a very special case where you need as much I as possible. They'll usually have 12 to 13 or less over on the right side between speed and field. They'll have as much location and velocity as they can get while still getting fin or dom bonus on pitchers. Training shouldn't make too much of a difference at this stage in the tournament because it's really going to be skills that are making the difference. Maybe as you start to get up into later rounds, that might give you a slight edge. But similar to legend pitchers chemistry, and legend batter chemistry as well. By the way, if batter's chemistry on a legend versus not a legend is what's making your decision, try to find a different matchup. Try to pick one that's a little bit more obvious. Same with training. These guys train to compete at the highest level, and so everyone here is going to have good training. Because training is pretty cheap. It's really easy to get level resets, and it's really easy to get tickets. It just takes time. So anyway, going back through Pioneer, bad ball hitter, looking at Puig's lineup, we have Pioneer, batting machine, charisma. We have bad ball hitter, spotlight, batting machine on a SIG. So 3-3-3 sets on a SIG that can be matched out with legend sets are insane. It basically gives them all the benefits of both the legend with the maxed out skills and the SIG with the high stats. So this is an awesome roll. Manny Machado, bad ball hitter, slugger instinct, barrel it up. You'll notice he gets barrel it up bonus, which is at least 105 speed to prevent a boss nerf, and high enough con so that con plus speed is 240. So you'll see he's trained for BIU. Even though he doesn't have a super high base speed, he's able to get it. Great training. We skipped Trey Turner. Pioneer, charisma, slugger instinct. Interesting that he shorted Pioneer, but I think that's okay because it's still level 5. Lou Boudreau, bad ball hitter, batting machine, spotlight. Edgar Martinez, pioneer, heavy hitter, charisma. So now we're down in the bottom half of his lineup. We're seeing it doesn't have the strong 3 skills. I would reckon as he keeps getting blues, he's going to be hunting slugger instinct on this set. Yasiel Puig, pioneer, spotlight, 8 specialist. I bet that this is where all of his blues are going right now. A pioneer set with a 3-3-3. Great skill here. A specialist isn't going to do him a lot of help because, this is a pretty high overall card. But, again, another pioneer set with prediction level 3 low, and then bad ball hitter with prediction level 3. So, you can see this legend, or that this power ranking deck absolutely prioritizes having bad ball hitter and pioneer. It has it 9 times throughout the lineup, and that's why it's gone so far in this tournament. He has he has a strong rotation, slow starter, control master level 4. You see he doesn't have the dominant pitcher or last boss or untouchable here. He has stability. Control Master level 4, and he only has Pitching Machine level 3. So significantly weaker rotation than Xanderdu that we were checking out earlier. But his batting lineup makes up for it just because of all the Pioneer and all the bad ball hitter. That being said, you don't only need to pick teams that have 9 times Pioneer lineups. You can also look at, say they have a strong rotation and they have some 3-3-3 maxed out golds. Those work on a batter as long as they consist of slugger instinct, charisma, barrel it up with the bonus, or spotlight as 2 of those skills, and then the third one should be another one of those, or batting machine. It's good, but it's really only a third skill. It's not going to carry as a second skill. And then barrel it up without the bonus works as a third skill, kind of on par with batting machine. But if you can get the bonus, it takes it to a tier above. So that's what you're looking for in batters. Pioneer, bad ball hitter, 3-3-3 sets, and prediction, batting machine, they're a little bit weaker. if the third skill in a set is something like Ace Specialist, like he has on Puig, like I guarantee you, I bet that has to be what he's using blues on. But for something like Ace Specialist or Master Base Thief, these weaker gold skills or silver skills like Training Junkie or bronzes, you probably want to stay away from that. So now we're going to take a look at some decks that, we showed what really good looks like. Let's show what they're still excellent, but they are not quite as good. So I believe let's start out here with Churchill Downs, power ranked 63, so just slid into the tournament. Again, this deck is so much better than mine. It's excellent, but it does have some weaknesses compared to what we've seen before. So starting out with the starting pitcher rotation, let's look at these skills. Control Master Finn, but dominant pitcher is only level 2. It's not helping out a lot with this set. Carlos Carrasco, Control Master, Finesse Pitcher, cleaning up your mess level 1. If there's any skill that can be level 1 and be useful, it's cleaning up your mess. But that being said, it's not always active, so it's a little bit weaker. Corey Kluber, 17, excellent year. He has slow starter, finesse pitcher, and level 1 stability. Again, that stability isn't helping him out much, especially against a team like A8. Shane Bieber, Fireballer, Finn, Dom, excellent set, but Fireballer is not Control Master and it's not Slow Starter. It's weaker. Paired with Finesse and Dom, it's really good. Obviously this is a really good deck, but the one deck we were looking at earlier at Xanderdu had all Control Master and Slow Starter, right? That's what this deck is gonna have to go up against. And then finally, Tom Seaver, co-op. It's a legend, and it doesn't have too strong supporting skills. It really only has Dom, and then Pitching Machine is a good third, but it's not the best third. It might have been stronger if that's something like Finesse or Boss, but you probably don't want to blue that because instead of co-op, he wants to find something like Slow Starter or Control Master. So still an excellent team, but if we're looking at that starting rotation and comparing it to Xanderdu, you can see the major differences. You can see why Xander stands out above something like this. Even though this deck, this starting rotation would crush mine, it's way better than mine. It's still, we're not talking about competing against my power rank 500 something deck, right? We're talking about competing against power rank 1 and 2 and top 10 and top 20. So, yeah, solid starting rotation, not one that I would bet on in the power ranking tournament. So, an example of a bullpen that may not be as strong is Furio's first round matchup, the Law Dog, the LA Wood Dog, the Law Dog. So taking a look through here, like Bruce Sutter, great card, but it's a legend and it doesn't have a legend skill. Finn, Dom, Setup Man are all, it's excellent, right? It's a very strong set, um, but at the end of the day, it's not bullpen day, right? It's not Control Master. Pedro Baez we go in. He does have Control Master with dominant pitcher and then a low level boss, only level 3. At this point, it would need to be level 4 or 5 or 6, ideally. Kenley Jansen, Dom Boss, another level 3, not 4, not 5. 4 is really the minimum we're looking at here. Hutchin Quo has Dom, Fixer, levels 3 setup man, and sometimes MRs can stay in for more than one inning. Then we get to where he doesn't even have any more SIGs. He has Ross Stripling with Bullpen Day Fixer, good set, not a SIG. Julio Urias, pitcher's chemistry ace. That's fine. It's a pitcher's chemistry card. And then Eric Gagne at his closer. No bullpen day, no legend skill like Finn. Boss streak is excellent. It's high levels, but when you compare this bullpen versus some of the ones we were looking at earlier that had multiple sets of bullpen day and control master like A8, this bullpen isn't quite there. So it's still really good, right? This bullpen is way better than my bullpen, and I would kill to have these skills, right? I would love to have these skills on my bullpen. But we're not talking about competing against me, right? We're talking about competing against the top power ranked teams. So that's going to about cover it. Oh no, we have to show a weaker batting lineup. Let's see. Who did I have listed down? I hope these guys are watching this video and they're gonna come flame me in the comments for calling their team weak. Um, just kidding. Please don't do that, guys. Like I said, uh, all of these um, teams are way better than mine. So again, we're gonna go back to this Cleveland deck that we saw earlier, and we can just look at the bats it has in it. Pioneer, barrel it up, two great skills, but then table setter level 3 as the third skill. Compare that to someone who has a legend here or something level 5 or 6 with Pioneer. It's not that good, or it's not as good. Wade Boggs, Pioneer, Slugger Instinct, barrel it up. Barrel it up though, no bonus, right? He doesn't have the 105 speed, so it's really operating closer to the level of batting machine than full level barrel it up, which it's on a Boggs 87. You're not going to get the BIU bonus on that. So that's fine. Um, that is acceptable. That's still a very good card. Lubadro, Pioneer Slugger Instinct Prediction. That's prediction. That's not Charisma or Spotlight or even Barrel It Up or a Batting Machine. Encarnacion, excellent card, has been removed from the game. Bad Ball Hitter, Charisma, and then a level 2 Training Junkie, right? Like when we were looking at Chauvinist Puig earlier, even his bad sets were still high level, right? Even when they were prediction, they were high level prediction. Even when it was Ace Specialist, it was maxed out Ace Specialist. This is level 2 Training Junkie, not even in the same stratosphere. Uh, George Brett, Pioneer Spotlight, but then instead of having Charisma, Slugger Instinct here, it's Full Swing Hitter. Perez, triple three, Slugger Instinct, Charisma, Batting Machine. It's good, right? And that's a solid 6-hole hitter. Michael Brantley, Pioneer, Slugger Instinct, low level heavy hitter. Kenny Lofton, Pioneer, barrel it up. Decent level, level 4, we like that, but it's full swing hitter, right? And then finally, Kipnis 18, Pioneer Spotlight, level 2, flashing the laser. So lots of legend skills here, but the supporting skills are just a lower level. And it's going to take a lot of work to make those better. I think that with some blues, this guy can move far up the power ranking list, and I'm sure he's working on it. But that's just to show you the difference between someone like A8, who we showed earlier, and this deck, who is a lot lower overall. So that's just going to do it for today. I think that covered about everything I wanted. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'm happy to answer your questions about power rankings. I guess that since I went through this all, I need to make a prediction on who's going to win. I think honestly, I'm kind of thinking A8 is going to take the win. I'm thinking A8 is going to take it all the way to the bank. Um, I think Gun Sox wins this matchup, but A8 just has excellent batters, a very strong bullpen, and excellent starting pitching. Xander is another excellent deck, but I think that he's just weaker than A8 overall, and he needs to win at least 4 or score more points on Carnival Sox to even advance past this round, which I'm surprised the Power Ranking 20 deck might be going into semifinals. So there's my prediction, A8 taking it all. But take the time, walk through this yourself, try to come to your own conclusion. Shout out to Kaime again for the help with this. He walked me through my outline, helped me make sure I was covering everything that he covers in his write-ups, and really helped me put this together. So Kaime, if you're watching this, thank you a lot. I really do appreciate you helping me out with this video. If this video helped you out, please leave a subscription. Leave one below. We're getting close to 1,000. Leave a like. Leave a comment. I'll try to get back to it. As always, though, your viewership is enough for me. Thank you, everybody, and I will talk to you next week.